Sorry. Okay, we're good. All right.
Well, good afternoon, Congresswoman. I'm Justin Hoover. I'm the Executive Director of the Battle Within in the virtual Battle Within office. And so with us, we have, well, I'll let everyone else introduce themselves as that. Lisa, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Lisa O'Dell, and I'm the Operations Director, and glad to have this time with you.
Yeah.
And I'm Dale Blake again. I'm President of the Board of the Battle Within. Professionally, I work at Country Club Bank, but this is one of my passions.
And I'm Whitney Logan. I'm the Clinical Director for the Frontline Therapy Network. And we met once at a canvassing event for you, I think summer of 2018.
It's nice to see you. Was it over at the KCK one?
It was at the Metcalf one.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, feels like a long time ago, but it really in real life wasn't.
No, yeah.
I was at the table with Sheila Albers at that Education Foundation breakfast, if you recall.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and I ended up having to leave right when the superintendent was talking about the various, I mean, he talked about a number of things. It's Todd White, right? He's okay, yeah. He was when he was talking about some of the mental and behavioral health work going on there. Yeah.
They're doing amazing things in Blue Valley.
Yes, they are. Hello.
Hi, Sharice.
How are you?
Good. Thank you for taking time to visit with us today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we're finally getting to have this conversation. I know we ended up having to reschedule a couple of times. Sorry about that.
Well,
okay.
There seems to be some pretty big things going on last Friday.
Yeah.
In your world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, we wanted to spend some time to tell you a little bit about the Battle Within, really what we're doing, our COVID response, and how we're helping out our first responders, our medical personnel, and our veterans and military here in Kansas and abroad. So we're very excited. Well, I guess I shouldn't say it that way. Our program that existed before is really a 5-day residential group therapy process for veterans and first responders, which is really designed to prepare and deepen the healing process and create the conditions in which therapy and treatment can be successful. We've done this, our core team has done this for over 5 years with over 400 veterans and first responders, most of which are here in the Kansas City area. That is at no cost to them. We have donors and corporate sponsors that help us raise the funds to support that effort. And it's been growing quite rapidly. Unfortunately, we had to cancel our classes this spring due to COVID because you can't do inpatient stuff right now. And so that really forced us to look at how do we continue to serve this population remotely. We know that there is a definite need for that. The VA's, crisis helpline is up 12%. Domestic violence is up, I think 20% in the metro. So all those are really taking a very heavy emotional toll on our first responders, on our medical personnel. I mean, you see News Times articles almost every day now of the mental health crisis that's affecting those personnel. And so that's really where we created the Frontline Therapy Network. And Whitney, if you would kind of go into what that is and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, sure. Well, the Battle Within reached out to me to help co-create this at the beginning of the lockdown for the nation. And in part to serve displaced and isolated veterans and first responders, but then also to include the newly deployed frontline, which is the medical personnel, healthcare workers. And pretty quickly, we wound up being able to recruit a bunch of highly specialized therapists in town who have a lot of experience working with trauma, and create a network of therapist referrals where when folks reach out to us looking to receive mental health services, within about 24 to 48 hours, we're typically able to connect them to a therapist for free. And they can see this therapist for about 6 to 10 sessions. And the Battle Within pays the therapist a reduced fee, and then the therapist donate the remainder of their time or their fee to the client. And so our clinical team right now consists of myself and one other person. And I've done all the screening and vetting and interviewing of the therapists to make sure that they're qualified to work with the population that we're assigning to them. And then our clinical coordinator, Adam Majors, he does client assessments so that we can effectively and successfully pair people to the right kind of therapist. And so far it's gone really beautifully. The feedback we're getting is from therapists and clients is really encouraging. And we've been able to establish some partnerships with the University of Kansas Healthcare System and with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas City. And we've been able to expand to include, I believe, 9 states. So sometimes we will have folks reach out to us from other states. And so far, through our network of mental health providers, we've been able to find appropriate providers in each of those states that we're also able to onboard with the Battle Within and have them be a part of our referral network.
Is not that I expect you to rattle off all 9 states really quickly. What are some of the other states?
We have Illinois, Texas,
California,
Wyoming. Yeah, if you have it in front of you, you can go ahead, Justin.
I'm pulling it up right now.
I believe Louisiana.
And Sharice, our target for our messaging is the greater Kansas City metro area. So that's the focus, right?
Yeah.
But the organic growth comes from if you are experiencing the program and having a good experience, then you're calling your friend Bill or Susie because all you know is you're being helped, right? And so that's where we've then responded to the organic growth because of Whitney and Adam's network to go out and reach out and find people. And I've just been blown away the fact that we have over 40 therapist guys that have signed up for this program. And also that the University of Kansas Health System, Sharice, and Blue KC have both told us, you guys don't realize what you've created here, that you are on the leading edge nationally. And this comes from, again, Lauren Lucht, who's Executive Director of Mental and Behavioral Health for the health system, right? So she's got a pretty good view from her mountaintop. Same thing as Blue Cross is one of 36, Blue KC is one of 36 Blue Cross Blue Shield affiliates. So they've got a real view of what's being done. And just one comment from Lauren Lucht, again, Executive Director for the health system, when we were getting vetted, and I've done their sports marketing, Sharice, for 10 years. So I know how slow things move through the health system. And this was like a speedboat. And when one of our final vets was with the senior VP of HR for the health system. And you can imagine, right, her job is to say no, to figure out why we shouldn't take any risk. And as Lauren was introducing us, she told Julie Solano, she said, Julie, rarely will I ever come to you and tell you an outside group can do something better than we can, for obvious reasons, right? She said, these guys, I vetted them, and what they've created, they can do it better than we can. So let's partner, let's work with, versus trying to create something on our own, which was pretty amazing to us.
I have lots of ideas about, I'd love to, one of the things that I was thinking about is how we can, in the future, maybe do, I just want to, I feel like it'd be really good to be able to share the story about what you all have created. And, you know, that might look like a lot of different things, but I would love to be able to share your story and information with the Veterans Affairs Committee, so that when we're talking about the mental and behavioral health resources and models for what what help can look like, you know, it could be that they have a panel or a hearing. Well, now we're able to do remote hearings. We just passed that last week. And if that's okay with you all, I'd love to be able to share that with them. Mark Takano's the chair of the committee, and I talk to him somewhat regularly, usually about other stuff, but I'd love to be able to share this with him.
Yeah, that would be great.
That's really kind of where we're at right now. You know, we kind of did our soft launch. Mitch talked about having the 45 therapists, but their capacity is 250. And then we're onboarding more therapists. And really what we've seen is we can scale with the demand and grow this. And Whitney and Adam have done a great job of creating a vetting program, finding partners where we can kind of streamline that vetting process to really scale. And so we've done our soft launch, and now really, you know, one of the things we'd love to have your help with is be the megaphone. You know, how can we expand out in Kansas? You know, there's lots of hospitals across the rural area that you could help us reach much quicker than ourselves doing that. Lansing right now is having a very hard time, the correctional system. That's part of our definition of the Frontline and warriors as well. You know, we are currently working with Global Strike Command on the Air Force to create a program, with this being one of the cornerstones, to support their 34,000 airmen. You know, we'd love to have that program, because I don't want to say it's cut and paste, but a lot of the elements could be transported to Leavenworth, to Riley, very easily and very quickly. So, you know, there's a lot of opportunities to support Kansans as well as just all Americans that we'd love your help reaching.
Yeah, so one of the things that we should do is make sure to have, of course, Paula, she does an amazing job in our office of helping lots of folks. But also we should get you connected with Johanna and Kate in my office, because one of them can help us on the committee side of it and letting other members know about the work you're doing. And then also Johanna can help us on the kind of amplifying out the work that you're doing and trying to get you connected, or trying to get I guess you connected with folks that you, if you think that us reaching out might help facilitate some connections. Let me know, because such an important topic.
Sharice, I think one of the key things for us now, because initially, you know, could we get the therapists? Check that box. We're getting them. You know, it's just been amazing that we're already at 45. We kind of put a pause on that because we don't want to get too many in, and then you're a therapist and we're not coming to you with people. So you're thinking, okay, this doesn't work. But we feel very confident in that. You know, we're trying to keep the fundraising component, you know, where we're keeping gas in the tank. And again, Blue KC's been helpful. Other companies have been helpful. Obviously, that's going to be just that challenge to keep gas in the tank, right, from a funding. But right now, our biggest challenge is getting the megaphone that you could be very helpful with, because this is new and different, right? And people's trust factor with something like this, you know, can I trust this? Is this going to help me? But just using the megaphone that you can either be or help connect us to other megaphones to say, hey, because it takes a rhythm, right? Anytime in advertising marketing, rarely do you buy something the first time you hear it. And for a lot of the people we're trying to message to, they've got their heads down, right? They're not worried about themselves to the point they should be because they're getting the job done. And so I guess just thinking about how can we communicate with a rhythm and a quality of message from a trusted voice that, hey, there's no, this is free until it's not, right? Any kind of the bait and switch and all the things that people just
worry about.
Trust issue. Plus, this isn't something we've done, right? This isn't Blue Cross Blue Shield coming to it. It's consistent with what we do, but it's a new product and service for our organization. So I guess I think right now, guys, wouldn't you agree that it's about informing that key population about what we're doing in a trusted way, because then it will become those early adopters out there talking to their friends, talking about it, posting on social media, et cetera, that, hey, this is great and this is helpful. And just so you know, Sharice, this isn't going away. This has been a dream of something we wanted to do, but as a small organization, we've always been working to fund our 5-day program, which costs us between 20 and 25 grand to have 10 people come in for a week-long program. So we're always just trying to stay ahead of that curve. When we had to shut down, we had to go communicate to people and say, hey, Sharice, you can't come to our March program. You can't come to our April program. And that was devastating.
Yeah.
So in the perfect world, the therapy program never goes away. We may call you and say, hey, Sharice, good news is because of demand, we booked you into our 5-day program in October. And you're kind of going, wait, it's
October feels like forever.
How can I get there? And what good news is, Sharice, we're going to, here's our bridge to the 5-day program.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can see where those two work. And now you're going, okay, you're going to help me get to September or October or whenever it is. But we never want this program to go away. But once we can open back up, we've taken on a whole new responsibility of funding the therapy program.
Yeah.
Congresswoman, I'd want to, he threw out the $2,500 and we've talked about the $50 that we've negotiated with the therapist. That 5-day program, they get about 60 hours of coaching and therapy through that process. And when you break that down, it comes to about $41 an hour. And my therapist, the years that I'm smart in picking the right plan is $75 an hour. The year I don't pick the right plan, she's $150 an hour.
Wow.
It's, that.
I would also share that those numbers aren't the low end, so it's closer to 30,000 now. So it's much low. I mean,
but it's still we're using the money efficiently.
Yes.
To make these things happen, and then there's no cost to the participant, which is really important because it's, my family's battled mental illness for some time, and the hurdle to just get to a therapist is one thing. If you throw up another one of cost, then it could just kill the whole deal.
Yeah.
And the populations that we're serving are that we've identified are all relatively treatment resistant, because
that's what I was going to ask about is how you move past the the various things, the stigma, the sometimes I think even sometimes people are like, I'm tough, I need to just deal with it.
Yes. Yeah.
So how do you all move past that?
And that it exists in all three of the populations we've described: veterans, first responders, and healthcare workers, being identified as warriors, as tough people, as helpers, as highly functioning, effective responsible servants to the community. And so our 5-day program is actually targeted specifically to address that defense in a safe way. And the reason that group process works so well is because you have all of these people with that same complex learning how to soften it together. And so it gets normalized in the community, and they're able to do an incredible amount of work in 5 days to transform or transmute some of that, so that they are, I think Justin said, the goal of the program is to really sow the seeds or lay really fertile ground for them to then be capable of doing the work of therapy or treatment. And when it comes to the Frontline Therapy Network, there has to be a willingness. I mean, they have to reach out, but we, some of our success and our slow climb in numbers has been that we're pairing clients with therapists who are specifically chosen for that person. And then they are having a positive, really meaningful experience, and they're telling their coworkers and they're telling their colleagues, both in the city or at their hospital and also beyond. And so it will probably continue to, that piece will probably continue to be word of mouth, but we have therapists in our referral network who have been nurses for 32 years before they were therapists, or respiratory therapists before they were therapists, or have worked in hospital settings, or we've got therapists that actually specialize in first responder populations, and they teach nationally on 2 other therapists how to work with first responders. And so, we've created a really thorough vetting process so that we are I feel really confident about the way we match folks, and how that is going to have to be our most effective campaign to convince more folks that this would be good for them and safe for them. And
piggyback on what Whitney said on your question on how to overcome that hurdle. I myself am a combat veteran from Iraq. Ended up with 2 Purple Hearts, and really upon my return spent about 10 years being that persona, I'm fine, I don't need this, I've got everything under control. And so it really, having that community that you end up becoming part of through this is something that breaks that stigma. And that's everything we do is community based, and so over 15% of KCPD has gone through our program now. To see how that change has been. When I first started in this, our program was called Camp Feelings, and so it was a derogatory
really
thing for a lot of people. Now those are basically all the undercovers have gone through, most of your SWAT, those training in the academy, those in HR, those in wellness. And so they're sergeants, they're captains now. And so that cultural change has shifted from Camp Feelings to the people that you respect going, yeah, this is hard work. Yeah, this is painful. Here's resources, because I know how this affects you personally, affects your heart, affects your family.
Yeah.
And they don't want to see that devastating impact that it has. And so that's really what we're trying to create, and why we have it layered in so many different ways with the Frontline Therapy Network, with our 5-day program. After you graduate, then we have the Warrior Mental Health Coalition with 90-day follow-on programming to keep that community alive and to keep you engaged and keep your mental health first. And so it isn't a quick fix, and we're not trying to sell one, but it is a layered approach to develop that cultural change that we've seen on the small level. And that's, again, kind of why we're excited talking with the Air Force, to bring that comprehensive programming to a command that seems very, very invested, and has the commitment to see it through. And that's really what we see this being, that first step in the age of COVID, because we know what will happen to these frontline workers if we just kind of abandon them,
Mm-hmm.
not support them to get the help as our veterans did, returning. I
Yeah.
don't want them to wait 10 years.
Yeah.
That's what we're creating now.
Well, I appreciate I appreciate the work you guys are doing, and my hope is that this is just the first of many conversations that we're going to have, and we'll make sure to get you connected with the various people on the team, so that we can start to figure out ways that we can kind of work together to get this out there. And yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm glad we finally got to make this happen.
Thank
We
you.
I know.
appreciate your time as well.
Thank you.
Very much.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm just so grateful for all you guys are doing. It's so important.
Well, thank you. And thank you for your time.
So Paulo, we'll send, because I have your email address, we'll send you a follow-on with kind of the usage report and some more information, so you guys can kind of see what media exposure and whatnot we've had to date. And then you had said to follow up with Joanne and Kate. Is
I
that
will make sure to connect you to Johanna and Kate. Johanna's the press secretary, Kate's our legislative aide, and I will make sure you guys get connected with them.
perfect?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you all later.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bless you. Bye-bye.